Meow.
Hello YouTubers and Doctor Who fans, and today I bring before you quite a special video. I thought, why not do a video on this? Seeing as I dedicated a shelf in my collection to it, I might as well do a video. So, we're going to be looking at the custom figures which I made for Treading on Thin Ice, which was about 3 years ago. Still talking about that, 3 years ago. So we do have some customs here and some not customs. I won't look at the ones that aren't customs, there's not an awful lot of point doing that. So I'll just take those out of the way and we'll move on to the first custom. So first we'll look at General Butterworth. The base for this figure is a Stephen Hart Primeval figure. It's a really good base for like a military kind of figure because you already have the jacket which is painted in that military green. And then you all you have to do is just paint the trousers and paint the cuffs where the hands are. Very simple custom to do. I added like a card band around to resemble the strap or whatever. But yeah, it all looks pretty uniform. The only difference between this and the one that I animated with is obviously the head. This has the End of Time head sculpt, whereas the other one had the Series 3 Master head sculpt. The reason being is because I've lost it, I've no idea where it is. But either way, it makes a decent substitute. I had to trim down the neck for it to fit on this body. I did print out some badges, just to make it look a bit more military-like. And I painted the shirt a solid black, just so it didn't look like he was wearing just a normal t-shirt underneath. So yeah, that's pretty much it for General Butterworth. So next we'll look at the 2 unit soldiers that I made. Well, I didn't make this one. This was just from Poundland, and it happened to almost fit in with the 5-inch figures. I didn't really have this in the same shot as standard 5-inch figures, and when I did, I put it at a different perspective just so it didn't look incredibly small. You really should be about up to here. But then again, who says that the unit can't hire small people? How prejudiced is that, Oscar? Come on. So yeah, I just thought it fit well. In retrospect, I kind of wish that I would have repainted this the same colour that I painted this, just to match with it, just to make it look a little bit more uniform, and paint over those bits there just so his arms weren't showing, because that's not very professional. But yeah, very bog standard figures. This, I think it was like £1 for 4 or something ridiculous. I had no idea what happened to the other ones. Really wish I still had those, because then I could have actually had like a proper army instead of just having the same 2 figures on a loop. But oh well. You know, in retrospect, it would have been quite nice to have like Unit versus the Ice Warriors in a scene, maybe. Maybe that would have been a bit too much. I don't know. This is just a standard Primeval. There you go, my Tinder's going off again. A standard Primeval soldier figure. I think it's Captain Ryan. I should know. Primeval's one of my favourite series. Yeah, just repainted that to match the unit colours. It's got a different head just for the purpose of this video, because I have no idea where the original head is, but never mind. And then we have the most made custom figure in the history of Doctor Who. Sergeant Menten. Obviously the base for this is a Captain Jack. It actually does work pretty well. It doesn't really resemble John Barrowman an awful lot, so it works well as a Sergeant Benton. Obviously repainted it entirely, printed out a unit badge thing there, sculpted on the buttons with milliput. They're way too big. I really wish I would have sculpted those smaller, but oh well. And obviously I sculpted a tie. Not an awful lot to say, it's literally just a repaint with a couple of superficial changes. People usually use this for the Brigadier, but since we already had one, I thought why not just make it a Benton instead. So there you have the unit fam all together. Look pretty alright. The colour varies from figure to figure. I really wish I'd have just, instead of making them at different times, wish I'd have prepared them, swapped the parts over and whatever, and then used the same pot of paint to use on all of them, just so that they look uniform and don't look completely different. But it worked in the episode. So lastly we have Lord Yurok, the most merciless Ice Lord in history. Now, the base for this was a 11th Doctor Crash figure, which I just had spare. Sculpted everything with milliput. And yeah, it's essentially just an entirely new figure. To give you some close-ups. So obviously I made this figure when I didn't really know an awful lot about customizing, so if I were to do this again, I'd sculpt it all in milliput for sure, but I would actually sand it down, because as you can see, there's a lot of imperfections in the milliput, there's a lot of fingerprints. It doesn't look very neat, it doesn't look very tidy. So yeah, definitely for sure sand it down and then prime it and then paint it properly just to make it look a lot more nice. Yeah, it just looks very, very rustic. Doesn't look very good. The body looks okay. I'm just not very happy with how the head turned out. That was the most difficult part. When you stand him next to the Ice Warriors, he does look very badass. It looks like he's about to slit some humans' throats. It looks pretty cool. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys. Let me know if you want to see any videos going in depth on the other figures that I used in the figure adventures. Not an awful lot of other customs. This was like the most custom heavy out of the lot, but if you'd like to see more, then do let me know. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.